For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Talking Horses, presented by Saratoga Water. Happy to have Saratoga Water back aboard, sponsoring our show. It is Thursday, March 31st. It's still March, but it kicks off it's the spring boutique meet here.
But it is spring. Spring starts the 20th.
Started a week ago, 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago. We're, in theory, a week away from turf racing. The next first turf race will be scheduled for next Thursday, so weather permitting. Back on the grass. Imagine the tarps will be coming off shortly.
I believe they came off. You know, I was rattling my brain, which there's not much to rattle.
There's a lot of rattling going on there. I know the feeling.
Wasn't that much
Claude's already had enough.
Claude's already had.
See you later, Claude.
2 minutes into the.
We'll miss you.
2 minutes into the meeting,
2 minutes.
Claude's done.
2 minutes. It's about 28 seconds.
I want to say you and I had this discussion last year.
The weekend?
They started with 6 days before. So tomorrow, in theory, would be when they start.
We're gonna have Brian
on.
I think Brian's been dying to get on the show to talk about it. Brian and I had a long talk about the tarps yesterday. You know, the issues of the wind that day, tearing them up, and the whole situation. I was actually out at Belmont for the groundbreaking ceremony for the New York Racetrack Chaplaincies, their new home, which was, I mean, even though it was about -40 out and the wind was blowing.
That was a cold day.
It was a good thing to be involved in.
I had a ski hat blown off my head that day.
It was crazy out.
Yeah.
And but so we were at Belmont for that. Of course, their home is at Belmont Park in the stable area. And out, in fact, they got the tarps are still up there, but looking good out at Belmont. Nice to see Belmont. A little bit chilly though, but it'll be warmer. The warmth is back actually today. You need to head over to Naira Bets if you're not a member of Naira Bets. No better time than the present. Use promo code STAKES200. We will match for $200 of your initial deposit. Head over to Naira Bets. Become a member of Naira Bets. Support racing in New York and keep the money in the game. Can't think of anything more important than keeping the money in the game. We've got a $70 bonus. Now it involves, you got to bet at least on each involving Gulfstream as well as Oaklawn and Aqueduct. Get $25. It's Florida Derby week. Weekend.
Contest.
The contest. $300 buy-in. Saturday contest. Now that's just our races?
Yes.
Okay. $300 buy-in for Saturday's card. Head over to Naira.com forward slash Anthony. Forward slash.
That's what Fran
Contest.
says.
Fran is always right. Fran is never wrong.
You have till 5 o'clock. You have till 5 p.m. tomorrow, so you have roughly 28 hours and 50 minutes.
Wow. Look at the big brain on Anthony. And finally, America's Day at the Races will be 2:30 to 6 today on FS2. Greg is back, a week in the sun. I'm hating him a little bit right now, but he is back. Nice to see him, actually. He timed it very well. He got back late yesterday, so he wasn't even here for the Arctic chill.
Smart.
Last couple, extremely smart.
I don't blame him.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. So race number 1.
How about that?
What's that? What?
What's that?
Yeah, that's the guy who's ready to go home. And make a great point. So race number 1 is sort of about the 2 built to last and the 3 Kaz, Mike, and a bunch of first-time starters, and we'll get the firsters. You don't know fourth choice for you, Anthony?
I don't know why there wouldn't be a fourth choice, Andy. I put them.
I can't
2, 3,
evaluate.
8,
I saw the website.
I only sent the email on Tuesday.
So. Well, it's not a question of what you sent it. The question is what happened to your fourth choice? It's visible up there.
2, 3, 8, 5.
So the 5 was your fourth choice.
Yep.
In case you're dying to know who Anthony's fourth choice is, it's Win with Gold. You have gone to Built to Last.
I have.
Have at it.
Second off, a little bit of a break. It's about a 10-week break. The blinkers went on. He ran into Best Idea. Now, Best Idea came back and did not run well in the stakes, but that day he did run well. This horse was outside the entire way, and the winner was good that day.
Track was fair that day. People stayed off the rail for the most part. I get that Best Idea didn't come back and run well. So I think it's important to look up the race and see, is he the only horse that came out of it? Is he the only horse that came out of it that ran poorly? Because it did come back a gigantic figure. It was an 85 figure for the winner. And in all fairness, short layoff or not, and 2 months these days is barely a layoff, to be honest with you. It's really not much longer. What is it, a week and a half more than this horse has been out now? 2 weeks. It's a big improvement. So you do want to look at the figs. So the winner ran 24 Beyer points slower in his next start. The next horse that came back ran 11 Beyer points slower. The next horse that came back ran 10 Beyer points slower. And did run 5 points higher. But I think there's fair evidence that that figure is a little bit unreliable going forward, and maybe, you take 8 to 10 points off of it, and it gets into the mid to low 60s, and I think that does have an effect. And in my opinion, the horse here, Kaz Mike, is just the right horse in this race, and I think the race he comes out of was better. Hot Rod Rumble, who beat him a Zop in this race, was coming out of a giant effort where he had involved in a wicked pace where he'd been off the gold rail, and he came back and ran it. And I remember thinking after the race, if they had just gotten Trevor McCarthy to ride this horse, he would have won. And then I realized, of course, Trevor McCarthy rode the winner of the race he's coming out of. And it's not really that the rider from out of town, he didn't do anything wrong. Maybe he could have been a little more aggressive early. It's just coming in here, riding against these guys. These guys are riding in the biggest circuit in the world, because they're better riders. And it's not a knock on Otero. I don't think he did anything wrong, and I'm not trying to criticize him.
No.
But these guys are stronger, better riders. I just thought, and I don't have a problem with the two, and think they are the two outstanding players in here, much more than Scherzando's had his chances and just looks a little slower. Not that he's a bad horse, just a little bit on the slower side. I just thought that Kaz Mike's race was probably a better race that he was coming out of. But I'm not against the two by any stretch. And I don't think you're against the three.
No, not at all.
I think they're the two horses. You've got a couple of first-time stars for Linda Rice. The one Civil Service. I wonder, the Dam was a horse that ran for Todd, actually. Ran, I think, one time and ran a 46 Beyer. I feel like FedBiz, I wonder if Linda's thinking use sort of a prep for the turf. Because FedBiz, his assessment is a turf sire.
Could be both. Could be a prep for both of them, right?
A little more turf in them. Not that neither one of them is screaming a pedigree in there. Rudy's horse, Win for Gold, is a half to two runners that did no running. The second Dam was actually pretty good from this one. And the horse that has the pedigree in here is Ouster.
Half to our boy Patagory 1, also half to Sal the Turtle, who did win.
Sal the Turtle was the good horse.
And
Patagory 1 wasn't that good. It was okay.
Sal the Turtle didn't know, I know, but we've talked more about Patagory 1.
Well, recently, not
Sal the Turtle won first out.
I guess Turtle had huge figures early in his career. I want to say he was second in the
gold first.
Should have won.
Yeah.
Ran huge, got like an 89 Beyer or something.
I think it was Rajiv's fault that day.
Probably. Right now he's delivering food in Jamaica. If you call up and Rajiv shows up at your door if you're in Jamaica, could be like a special thing. Have a jockey come.
And I guess it's worth noting that Sal the Turtle won first time out, right? Because this horse is debuting today.
Well, it's also, as you say, Patagory 1. There were two mediocre foals to the Dam. Sal the Turtle, for a period of time,
he was fast.
He was good.
Yeah, he was good.
He was very promising. He's named for a Howard Stern character.
For Sal
right?
Governale.
I think he bought into the horse after that, right? Yeah.
Yep.
He was out here, I remember, for it.
Yeah, a few times.
So I was actually interested in that horse based on that pedigree a little bit. So that's why I threw that one in.
There you go.
Race number deuce. So Anthony actually insanely believes that now, Majestic Tiger would be less offensive, his last race, and we'll show it, if he wasn't one of about 10 or 15 horses from Wayne Potts that improved dramatically in their PPs. This one was off the claim, but he's had one explosion after another over the last couple months, and it's been documented a little bit by some people on Twitter recently and some others. I don't like this horse at all. I thought he got a perfect trip last time. I have absolutely no idea where that effort came from, and I think Wayne Potts notwithstanding, and I totally understand, betting against this horse right now is moronic because they're not running their PPs. I want to see it again.
Okay. See, so I understand that the barn had a massive turnaround.
But individually, one horse after another is improving 15, 20. You don't. I haven't seen that Oscar Barrera did it a lot. I haven't seen it in a long time.
I will say this.
It's a fact.
It is certainly part of the reason. I also felt like, and you and I talked about this, and I know you pretty much have just, you have kind of just digressed to the fact that the barn is on this big run. I thought this horse looked like a horse that was going to appreciate a little bit more ground. It pulled him into the race a little bit more. Now you could say Wayne taking over has put some.
Wait a second. It didn't pull him into the race more.
It did.
He was 3.5 and 4 lengths behind the first two calls. In a 7 furlong and a 6 furlong race, he was 3.
They were going
behind
46, Andy. They were going 46 and
Okay,
change
they
the
went
other day.
23 and 347 and 3 and 22 and 347.
They go in a second.
So
they went a second
that's
faster.
factually inaccurate. I
But
just want to
Andy,
make sure it's clear.
They went a second faster to the half. And he was in the same position as he was the time before sprinting.
Okay, have at it, because I don't agree with any of this stuff. So I
You
would
don't
be a
have to
record.
agree
I don't
with
agree with
it.
any
That's
of this stuff.
fact.
I don't agree with any of it.
That's fact. They went a second and 3/5
Right.
faster
You
last
understand
time.
that bias that tracks have different variants, and one track is faster.
Yeah, I
or
get the
slower
whole
than
thing.
another. Okay, I'm not sure.
But common sense is going to tell you that going the mile.
I don't believe he was more in the race. I do believe he got a perfect trip.
He got a perfect trip. There's no believing that. That's a fact too. He got a perfect trip. But especially now with the scratch of Tail of Mineshaft, I would imagine Mucho Sunrise is going to go to the lead, and I would imagine this was going to get a cozy trip right off of him.
He should be sitting second.
Based off of his last trip.
Listen, I can't wait to see what he does 13 days after his miraculous turnaround last time. I'm looking. One of the things I'm most looking forward to on the start.
I'll tell you the other thing. You want to go back to Mucho Sunshine, who's going to be a little bit of a price as the loose speed.
We'll get to him.
That's fine.
third video.
I'm leaving him for you. But do you really have any trust in Corkman or Amount? Those are the horses
they're actually horses who have reliable form. You have a horse that has form in 9 of his 10 races that gives him 0 chance in this race.
But the fact that he ran well for
one
Wayne,
race.
But the fact that he ran better for Wayne, exponentially
like
better
every
than
other
Wayne.
horse he's running.
But that has to be included in the equation.
Of course it does. I just want to see how it keeps going on. I'm curious to see how long it lasts. What about Amount? I'm not a big Amount fan coming up from Gulfstream and think he's probably a horse that's going to take too much money with Todd Pletcher.
That's the problem.
I don't know
with
how
him,
good
right?
he is. He beat a horse. The horse he beat, the figures sort of fall in line, but are you going to be surprised when Todd comes up with a horse that runs?
No, not at all. This horse has also spent his entire career at Gulfstream Park, right? He has quickly went from a horse that was 10-1 on the Holy Bull and second choice behind Known Agenda in an allowance race before Known Agenda won the Florida Derby to running for 25-3 life. And he's got to ship up. And, Todd's horses do seem to run better, especially these low-level horses to me down at Gulfstream. I don't know what you really
No,
really
I'm
trust
not
him?
a big fan of this horse.
Corkman's second time claimed back by Flying P and Bruce Levine, but we kind of know what Corkman is, right? This is what Corkman is.
But he consistently runs
He
numbers
does.
that are better than any race, save the perfect trip last race of Majestic Tiger. And the reality is that I'm not sure how good that race really was overall for Majestic Tiger. I don't want Majestic Tiger here. You do. We disagree. We have a very different philosophy. Doesn't make me right and you wrong. I don't want Majestic Tiger.
Truth of the matter is, I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't know how much it is I want Majestic Tiger over the fact that I don't want Corkman or Amount.
Okay, but handicapping is always about who you like more than others. I like the 1, 4, and 5 more than I like Majestic Tiger.
Okay.
You like Majestic Tiger more than you like the others.
Yeah.
That's just handicapping. As far as Mucho Sunshine, I believe pretty clearly if he runs this race, we'll show here, he's going to win the race. Last time he ran, he got caught up against better horses. Famished was a 45 claimer running in a 25 that overlaid the field. He got engaged the base. I don't think he really ran that badly. Now look at this race. There's really not much speed in here, and I think that he's supposed to go to the lead with him. And I feel like Mucho Sunshine is going after connections. Don't get much money. The reality is that Luis Chimango's horses have run fine over the winter, and he's a horse who had some trips in his races that make his form look worse than it is. And I feel confident if he runs this race, this field may have a lot of trouble with him.
Aggressive rider in a field full of horses that just are not fast early.
Yeah, well, he's
faster
the
than
speed
these
by
horses.
accident.
Yeah.
He's the speed by accident. We'll see what happens. A disagreement in race
And his
number
last
3.
2 races have been the best ones he's run in a while, and they've been when they've been aggressive with him.
They have and they haven't. I mean, he's had some excuses in his other races, so he has races, I said before, that are a little bit better than they.
Okay,
than they
shown
look.
more. Would you agree he's shown more life in his last 2?
Well, I don't know. No, I think he's just gotten maybe fairer trips. I didn't think he ran that badly in the Profusion race, to be honest with you.
Okay.
But I guess you're right. I mean, he's in his good form. I'll put it this way. He's certainly been in as good form
Yes.
as he's ever been. That's fair.
Certainly true.
So race number 3. I've been really dying to hear what you like about Lord Brownie.
I had a tough time with this race. I
kidding, you did.
I had a real tough time with this
No
race.
kidding.
I'm curious to see what happens with, and I put them 1-2 for this reason. I would imagine that in some order, Lord Brownie and Lucky Mucho Man are going to have a little bit of a tactical edge on this bunch.
What about Joshua? You don't think Joshua's the speed?
And now I believe blinkers go on Joshua as well.
Okay.
That's a late change.
But isn't he the speed? On paper, at least?
I guess.
Well, Dylan Davis didn't win the winter
Yeah, I would
riding
imagine. I
title
would
by
imagine.
rating lone
And
speed.
he's another curious one.
But isn't he a speed? I'm not saying he's going to win or whatever, but he's supposed to be in front.
I mean, I guess he is. I'd be curious to see if they're if Jose Gomez, the bug boy, is aggressive with Lord Brownie. The blinkers also go on. Fresh gelding for Lucky Mucho Man. I guess Joshua could show speed.
I mean, your assumption is, I'm assuming, because this is a point you make over and over again, that because Jose Gomez is on him, a horse that's not the speed of the race is going to be more forwardly
I
placed.
think he's going to be forward.
But how is that going to? He was forward last time.
They were aggressive with him last time.
How'd that help? He didn't run well.
I think.
I'm just trying to get to how he's going to win this race.
Well, if you take out Nova Loves a Fight's last fig, right?
Well, we'll get to how you could possibly leave him out of the top four. He'll be favored here. Keep in mind, David Aragon is out this week, so I'm not. Actually, I looked at the morning lines over the first 2 days, and they seem pretty fair. I don't agree that.
Minnesota's was 31-1.
I thought the 9 would be favored, but
Okay, you might be right.
I'm not sure I will.
Off the one fig, you might be right. I didn't like him.
But my problem with Lord Brownie is, okay, I get it. So you think he'll be more forward. What race does he have that makes him a contender?
Listen, he might not want to be. He might not want to go a mile, but he's going to be.
He doesn't want to go 6 either.
I thought he would. I thought he'd be a better price than what he is on the morning line. I probably would have put Lucky Mucho Man on top. All things being equal, with a little bit more upside.
Lucky Mucho Man got a 20 buyer.
I understand that, but he's also getting a little bit of a kitchen sink. Blinkers on, fresh gelding. He has a race under his belt.
He'll need him.
There's a lot of interesting things going on here. Joshua had Kendrick Carmouche first time out and got beat a long way, and now Dylan Davis climbs aboard. The blinkers go on.
Well, Dylan's going to ride for Robbie Falcone. He's winning a lot of races. I mean, I don't think.
See, to me,
I don't think he's riding Joshua as much as he's saying over some other horses.
To me, this was a race where I didn't want Nova Loves a Fight. Because at 31-1, a long way second. I know the race came up fast, obviously. It's a fast fig.
Well, but Illustrious, who finished third with a 35 buyer, came back and won with a 52 buyer in his next start. So it's not as, I know Red Revolution hasn't come back and run a step since then, but he ran a fast race that day. And, you know, the reality is that Nova Loves a Fight. I mean, in my opinion, leaving him out of the top 4 is ludicrous.
Okay.
I wasn't rushing to bet him in here. I understand he's a one-number horse. I get it. But this is a bad field. And here's the thing. You say you want Lucky Mucho Man. Based on what?
Based on the fact that he was forward first time out, I think he'll benefit, like most horses do, from his second start.
What do you think of how that race was run?
He gets the gelding. What do you mean by that?
Well, the winner was a 23-1 shot that was on the lead.
Yeah, it was obviously a pokey pace, and though it was he used to have the
and
horse.
He did no running.
Listen, I'm not going to. If we've based everything based on the fields these horses have run against this past winter, it'd be hard to handicap any of these races.
Well, but.
This horse is getting a little bit of a different look in a race where the favorite, and I think we both agree that he's going to be favored. Nova Loves a Fight, right? I mean, I would imagine he's going to wind up favored.
I think my point I'm trying to make is, though, and that's fine. It's fine to like the 7 Lucky Mucho Man here. I get it. He ran once. I get it. That's fine. But to leave him out and say, I like him, but I don't want any part of Nova Loves a Fight, that doesn't make it. You got to have Nova Loves a Fight second or third and say, I want to bet on Lucky Mucho Man. Okay, great, but I don't understand how you can think one is playable and the other, I don't want it all.
One horse is going to be 4 times the price as the other horse.
Rightfully so.
Okay.
Rightfully so. Okay, we fundamentally disagree. I don't want Bohemian Ruby. I've got him third. But, I mean, if he's going to be the favorite of the second choice in this race, and we'll take a look at his last race, I mean, he lost to Prince of Joy, who was $1 billion to 1 in this race and wired the field. He's had 1 million chances.
Yep.
He's been reasonably short prices at half of them. Could he win? Of course. Like anyone could win. I'm with you on that. But boy, do I want no part of it. To me, the one, and we disagree, which is fine, but to me, if there's one of the two we want no part of, I want no part of the 0 for 10, as opposed to the horse who's run twice and improved substantially in his second start. And the fact that he beat a horse that came back and ran a good figure and winning next time out. I'll tell you something else. I think the other Noda horse is dangerous near, and I consider putting him on top, and that's Disengage. Because you look at this horse's earlier in his career when Michelle Nevin had him, and even going a little bit after that, he ran some figures to give him a chance. The problem with him is his last 2 races are just
appalling.
They're awful, right? They're just completely atrocious. But he's getting Manny Franco. And, you know, we're talking about prices. Well, he's going to be a big price in the line.
Look at
now, his last 2 races make him a big price.
Look at the 3 names that won the first 3, Barisi,
Right.
Witt, and Senbei.
Exactly.
Right.
This horse ran against real racehorses, and frankly, he didn't even embarrass himself.
The drop bothered me with him.
Well, what are you supposed to do with him?
I guess.
What are you supposed to do with him? Run him in special weights? Someone's going to claim him for a quarter?
Finger Lakes opens in, 3 weeks?
So what? And the purses for maiden races are $30,000. If somebody wants to claim this guy, oh my!
Right, but that's my point. The purse for this race is $35.
What's the line about popping bottles? They'll be popping bottles if somebody claims Disengage. I can promise you that.
I don't think we've ever heard that about a quarter claimer.
Let me tell you, they'll be in the winner's circle popping bottles when Disengage wins and gets claimed. Frankly, they'll be in there when he runs 7th and gets claimed. Anyhow, we'll break after 4, by the way. I apologize, I didn't mention that before. So race number 4, speaking of turnarounds, one of my favorite turnarounds from the Potts Barn, and there are quite a few, is Tell a Perfect Tale, and I'm sure Tom Morley enjoyed it as well. Here he is running 2nd last time out, where he actually somehow justified his amazing turnaround. That 80 buyer was actually originally like an 87 or 89, and it just seemed that rational sense. But she ran back to it. She'll probably win today. I guess these Wayne Potts horses are like freight trains running down a highway, and you just want to stay out of their way. But, man, there's some point she's got to turn back into a pumpkin, at least to me, so I can't bet her, but she'll probably win.
Maybe she has to turn into a pumpkin. Yeah,
She will.
They usually do. They usually do when they're in for the lower tags. They usually do. But for now, I mean, she runs either of her last 2 races. She's going to trounce these horses.
Probably win.
Yeah.
I don't know. Cato de Peo, I've tried, is going to beat her off the last one, so I took Tua T, who
probably the only horse you could take against her, because Cato de Peo, that last race just leaves a bad taste in your mouth.
I could take her, but I went to. I was deciding which one to put first and which one put third. And with Tua T, ran against better horses last time out. That race did fall apart in the late stages. Suspended Campaign ran well. Girl at Toscanova ran well. So I actually think she ran better than it looks last time. And listen, I'm just hoping. This is a bad line too. Tell a Perfect Tale is going to be 4 to 5 or 3 to 5 in here. She's not going to be 9 to 5. So that means all these horses, the Cadota Pays, the Tua Ts, they're all going to bump up a point or a point and a half at least here. So I think you can reasonably say that Tell a Perfect Tale is going to be 3 or 4 to 5. And listen, she probably should be. I'm not saying she shouldn't.
Right, off the last 2 races, she should be. Tua T and Cadota Pay will be somewhere in the. They'll both be like 4 to 1, 9 to 2, like that. And then, I mean, she could be 3 to 5. She probably should be 4 to 5, 3 to 5, 4 to 5.
Well, if you trust her 4 of her last 2 races, she should be about 1 to 5 in here. They can't beat her. They can't beat her. They're not even in the same vicinity. We'll see how it works out. It's racing, so anything can happen. 4 left to go. We'll be right back.
Make business meetings exquisite. Make a weekend outing exquisite. Make a late night snack exquisite. Make a night on the town exquisite. For nearly 150 years, the Saratoga Spring Water Company has been producing the finest spring water available anywhere. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
You're the greatest.
Did we come on? It is better than that, by the way.
This is how pathetic Anthony and I are. By the way, this is just a sort of, we're looking at Brian and Ron down at Gulfstream, and Anthony said something about, and Brian, you know, is a good friend of ours. And
fellow Mets fan.
But poor guy. I feel we share his pain. And you made a comment about his hair. I don't know. I think he's trying to strut the Stabile look a little bit with that when you get that thing going. I got nothing going on here, so I'm just jealous.
Ronnie's got better hair than both of us.
Well, Ronnie's the man. Race number 5, I thought was an extraordinarily interesting race, and I think that, you know, Eddie the Great is sort of impossible. I didn't particularly like Convertible Freeze, though frankly he ran well enough in the last couple of races, and he's not impossible either. I thought there was a whole lot of horses in this race and had real chances. We'll start with Pineapple Man. State Planning came out of that race and had the big win last time, and I don't think he's impossible at all. This is a race where the winner could easily not be in my top 4, as opposed to most other races. I do think the rail kind of got good in the late stages, but he's going to be the speed again, and I'm not going to be surprised when he wires the field.
No.
I'm going to try to beat him like you are, but he's the worst to beat, right?
He was another one where the speed sprinting and I know I do remember the rail getting good at the end of his
Well,
day.
it's those weird days where it may have gotten better, but it sort of goes against common thinking, so I'm always a little bit skeptical of it.
What I liked about it was, he had the speed sprinting, and he's fast. He's fast out of the gate. He had the speed sprinting, and then when he stretched out, he was able to kind of ration the speed out a little
They
bit.
knew he was going to win last
Yeah, he
time.
took a ton of money. He was betting to pick 4, everything.
He got bet at
Everything.
last time.
I
And it'll
remember,
be interesting-
I remember being alive, and I blew a half logical horse in the 8th race, in the 7th race. And then he was the finale on an 8-race card, and I didn't have him. I had
Right,
like
I
a
remember I
3-horse
texted you
split.
after the race. We were
Yeah.
texting and you were
Yep.
complaining,
I
and
was like-
rightfully so.
I was like, thank
and, well, you
God.
blew it. I think it was a horse I liked. No, I think, was that Rosa Veloce?
Yes, that's who it
And
was.
you should have used her.
Yeah.
And we were talking, and I remember I texted you after the race, and I said, well, that's a good winner for you. And you said, what do you mean? And I said, you didn't have this horse.
I had Rudy. I had state planning. Yep, I think I
It
finished
wasn't
2, 3,
Rosa
4.
Veloce.
No,
Because she's in, it was somebody you could have, I know. I remember,
You
the
remember the
conversation.
conversation? Yeah.
And
but he was good. He should be the controlling
on
speed
paper,
again.
he
It's
has
not going
to
to
be
surprise
in
me if he keeps going.
no.
I put him second.
He's the horse to beat. I'll tell you something. The horse I'm skeptical of, and I got him 4th, and you've got him 3rd, and he can win. Achilles' heel feels like he's going to get bat because of the Cox factor. I'm going to tell you something. I know he ran a big figure in that off-the-turf race 2 back. Every one of his other races is somewhat mediocre. To be fair, the winner of his last race is that Pletcher horse that didn't run that badly. He ran 13 points higher than Risen Star. So maybe he's not that bad. I have mixed feelings about this horse.
I know he ran a better fig than his maiden win, but his two most, I don't know, but the most positive results that he's posted have come in the off-the-turf races. And I think that's something that's worth noting.
Well, his last race makes him a
No,
contender,
it does,
to be
it
fair.
does, but I'm just saying he didn't really do a
It
ton
was
of running in
Rot-
that
it was
race
Rodney
last
that
time.
you didn't use. No, you singled
I
Rodney.
loved Rodney.
No, Steve says you didn't use him. Steve's wrong. Because you said to me.
I loved
you
Rodney.
said to me
Rodney
on,
beat,
yeah, you said at the show.
Mr. Larry.
You said at the show, I'm going to single Rodney.
Rodney, yeah.
So, no, Steve. It's the first time ever Steve was actually wrong.
Yeah, no, I
It was-
loved Rodney
He
that
was looking
day.
at the 7th race. It was an 8-race card.
Yeah.
It was the race before. It was
Okay.
somebody, maybe somebody I liked that you didn't use. Right?
Maybe.
Had second, and you said to me, I can't believe I didn't throw your horse in or
But
something.
yeah, I have the horse 4th, I have the horse 3rd. I didn't know, frankly, what to do with him.
His races in New York aren't that good.
He didn't
Listen,
beat
he
a
can
good
win.
field in Saratoga, that off the turf field.
Right. Those horses are not dirt
Not
horses.
dirt
and
horses.
I've tried them in subsequent starts. and they're
So,
just- and this is not a great field, but it's not a bad field. And we'll take a look at the horse you have on top in Mo Danson, and I'll let you talk about him. We have a stat
this
for
is
him
not
afterwards.
something I ordinarily do, taking the maiden claimers out of into the allowance races. And this is a horse who, I know the fig wasn't that fast, but this horse ran pretty well for Linda first time out when they ordinarily need one. And I would imagine he's going to get a good trip outside of he's not near as fast as Pineapple Man, or really, I would imagine Eddie the Great's going to be a little forward too. But I would imagine this horse gets a good setup on the outside today. I'm hoping for the improvement.
Well,
the
he
Linda
should,
runners.
he should be stalking in second, shouldn't he?
Second or third. I think Eddie the Great's going to come out of there running today.
Well,
I know
he'd
he's
come out
faster than
running,
him.
but he doesn't have any running.
I know he's faster.
He is. He's incidental to this field.
But yeah, Linda gets those horses to usually improve second time
Well,
out.
it's a funny stat. Leave it up for a second if you don't mind. Second start, she's 7 for 21. The ROI is under $2, so they are super logical horses. There's a horse that broke their maidens first time out. In route, she's 11 for 50, 202 ROI, but I think he fits this category fairly well. I agree with you. I think this horse is very dangerous, and I think some people will get put off by the fact that he won a $40,000 claiming race, and I don't think you'll disagree.
No.
It wasn't exactly the strongest of fields, but I thought he ran in there. I thought he ran well.
Absolutely. And I think when a barn is not known for doing something and they run as well as he did first time out, it opens your eyes a little bit. It opened my eyes a little bit.
No,
I was willing to ignore
I-
the claiming tag and pick him today.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that's a day where, in general, horses inside dominated. Now, that race and the next race were suspended campaign one, outside runners win. But the way the second place finisher's suspended campaign, the Charlie Baker horse, who's in later this weekend, to a T race, Girl of Toscanova ran, I think she was against the track. I think there's an argument that, in fact, that you may have been better off being, at least a little better being inside. And there's an argument that she was a little bit against the racetrack. So I'm with you. I think she's dangerous. Now, as far as Cut the Cord, this horse I have to bet. And I think the Cut the Cord might be a bigger price than some of these, because even though the figures are closer, this horse is not winning. But with Cut the Cord, I thought he was very interesting, as I think you did a little bit last time too. We thought he had a chance in there, coming out of better races. And on the surface of things, he ran very mediocrely. But the reality is that he didn't break that well. He kind of broke in badly. He wasn't bumped. I don't agree that he was bumped, but he kind of just sort of blew it at the break. I don't know if he just lost footing, whatever it was. He didn't break that well.
I almost lost my microphone.
He broke. Can't let that happen. He broke the field, but he just dropped off after that race. That was the day here on the 19th where nobody made up any ground the entire day. Every race was dominated by forward horses. Maggie thought it might have something to do with the kickback. She may be right.
Okay.
But it's very clear in watching the race of that day, it was like the Saratoga routes where no one could make up any ground. So he was badly compromised by that, and I still think he ran okay in that race. He ran a figure that fits in this race, and he was against the track. I want to give him one more chance, and I think he's going to be a bigger price. I don't think he'll be this close to the
You're
price.
probably right.
This is a tough race to make a morning line, so I'm going to put him in there. But I thought this was probably the most interesting race of the day.
Agreed.
Race number 6. Race number 6. What'd you do in race number 6?
I scratched into Bronx Bomber.
Okay, well, we'll show
This
you.
race, I thought Mr. Pete, who was 10-1 morning line, who probably would have been half that, was real interesting today. I wanted to make a good bet.
I
on
get
him.
it. You're picking every Wayne Potts horse.
No,
we get that.
It
We
really
get
didn't have,
it.
it had very little to do with that.
Oh, nothing to do because
Well,
he
it
had
had
no
something to do
chance in
with
this
it.
race other than being claimed by Wayne
Well,
Potts. So
that's not entirely true.
Anthony, he was
Anyway.
atrocious last time.
Right, well, I mean, that's
and he's
part
running
of
against
it,
better
obviously.
horses.
It's part of it, obviously.
It's very
but-
hard to bet horses off bad races moving up in class against good horses moving down in class. And we're going to show a race that Bronx Bomber and Money in the Bank come out of that's way back in December. And see, my point about this race, and you would agree with it at the time, is that Bronx Bomber did have some traffic in this race. But the horse who ran the better race was Money in the Bank because he was closer to the pace that Incinerated. And he didn't have exactly a clean trip either, frankly, in here. He had to go around. He's the horse in purple. And when you look at Money in the Bank and Bronx Bomber and their last race, they were both compromised by the racetrack, in my opinion, that I was just talking about with the number 6 in the last race. Another race where they ran 1, 2, 3 around the racetrack. And if you look at their respective trips, Bronx Bomber in the last race broke well. He's not a speed. He was in good position. He never ran. Whereas Money in the Bank stumbled at the start. He was completely bumped off. It was bad, his start. His first start of his last race, you can go watch it. Remember, in Ira Bets, you watch all the replays free. So he broke a half length, 3/4 slow. He dropped back. And he almost beat Bronx Bomber, despite having significantly more trouble. And both of these horses were compromised by the racetrack, and they're both dropping. Now, I get they're dropping. They're not winning at the higher level. Bronx Bomber is yet to win a race rating. But I think that they're a little bit underappreciated, their last races. They're not as bad as they look. And I do think there's a high likelihood they'll run 1-2. I just prefer the one that seems to win races.
I think there is a chance. I think there's a chance we're going to see the old Bronx Bomber today.
He just doesn't.
I think there's a chance he's going to be forward today, especially with the scratches.
Well, I understand. You think that every horse that Jose Gomez is on is going to be in front. We get that. We've been there.
But this is what I do think.
We've
I
been there.
think the intentions were probably to keep him a little bit closer. Not that Trevor's not aggressive, but Jose kind of knows one pace at this point, and that's fast. With the 2 scratches, he still has to deal with double vision along the inside. But Andy, I mean, a ton of pace has come out of here. I guess South Africa can still some speed, but
Bronx
he just
Bomber's
really hasn't
faster.
been. Say again?
Money in the Bank is faster. I mean, South Africa.
But he doesn't go.
Okay, I get it.
You know what I mean?
My
assumption is-
you guess on speeds. Occasionally you're right. Usually you're not. But that's fine.
That's not accurate.
Yes, it is.
But that's inaccurate.
okay, it is accurate. But okay.
But I would imagine that that's part of the reason the kid's on the horse.
Okay.
Especially now with the scratches.
Okay, we'll see. I don't particularly agree, but I'm never shocked by anything. I don't know what to do with South Africa. Claim for 45. Okay, he was out of his league last time out, but he ran so badly, and now they're dropping him in for a quarter
Bad.
where he rates to get
He was so
claimed.
bad. I know. I like you said, he was in clobbering city last time over his head. But man, he didn't run 2
He had a
steps.
little trouble, but he was pathetic.
He has
He did
bad
have some trouble,
since
but
that layoff. He showed
But
that one little race.
I want the drop downs in here. because
Okay.
you take a horse like Durkin's Call, okay? I'm sorry. You know, I always wanted to use him. He can
Yeah.
close, but there's not much pace in here. Cecilia Mike's last race is a complete and total aberration. You've got him second. I think he's laughable in here, but he is Wayne Potts. So listen, he ran an 80 last time. He could run a 95 here. He could win the Carter, for all I know, the way Wayne Potts horses are running. But the reality is,
Well, isn't the problem here that you don't think an 80 can win this race? An 80 can win this
where
race.
did his 80
Andy.
come from? But also, this was a weak field. And he
Didn't
ran
get a
okay.
great setup last time.
No, he didn't get a great setup. It was a slow pace. And actually, in one of the rare times, Eric got a horse with no speed closer to it. I don't think he got a great setup.
I should say he got a
think
great
Eric did
trip
good
last time. He was
job
only
of-
2 lengths off the lead, yeah.
Well, but that's something he's never really been able to do in the past. He's hardly reliable, but he's another horse that's recent form improved immeasurably for Wayne Potts. I mean, there's no denying his numbers are wild to look at. They're improving. Last race, give him a chance, I suppose, but I don't know if the horses in Wayne Potts' horses barn can be judged by their prior form. Maybe they're just not supposed to be judged by their prior form. His general consensus form, his oeuvre of work, makes him a non-contender in this race. I suppose his last race argues that, though. And that's the case for a lot of horses that are coming out of that barn. Race number 7. Big scratch, eloquent speaker.
Speaking of Rosa Veloce.
Yeah. Rosa Veloce. Have at it.
Well, you know, I don't know.
I don't know, but I'm going to know in a minute.
I don't know what the plan would let me take this call is, but if I was Jolan Samuel and my arch nemesis Ray Handel, I would just blast off in here, man. I would just go. With eloquent speaker out of here now, the horse who was going to be in closest proximity to you that rated a fantastic chance is the morning line second choice, I would just go. I would go.
I think she's going to be a clear-cut second choice. I won't be surprised if she wins. She is potentially the speed in this race. I have no argument with that. I won't be shocked if she wins. I like somebody at a bit of a price in this race, but I think Rosa Veloce and Betsy Blue. We'll take a look at Betsy Blue's last race. You got to say, Betsy Blue did win an uncompetitive race last time. This was one where they knew that Ruvy's on time was. I don't even know if she was second choice. Someone might have been 3-1. She might have been 7-2.
She blew up late.
She might have been third choice, which meant they knew she wasn't going to win. And once she wasn't going to be competitive, Betsy Blue couldn't lose. But this might be one of the few bright spots on what's been a rough winter for Linda Rice. This filly, she's like a wind-up toy, isn't she?
I'll tell you what. Third start in 33 days too. Really going to
But
strike
when
all the
Linda
irons
runs
hot.
them back,
Yep.
they run well. So
I don't disagree.
she's not super fast, but she is wildly consistent.
And she's run well. I mean, you just look back to before the break, from August 11th to September 6th, which is
What a claim this
26
was.
days.
What a claim this
Right?
was.
Third, second.
This makes
all
up for
behind
some of
the-
those 30-plus claims that haven't won for
You
Linda.
have to make the good ones. She's never missed the board for Linda off the claim.
Well, look at her career record.
Stakes winner,
Anthony,
yeah.
she's never missed the board, period.
Period. But
I mean, she's been
yes,
first and second in 10 of her 11
Yeah.
starts with 6 wins.
1 third place finish.
That's pretty remarkable.
Behind Trini Luck and Honey Money, who probably
Well, Trinity Luck got loose on
Probably
a,
earned-
gold speed track that day. I mean, the important one, Miss Jimmy.
Win machines.
These are
Just
win machines.
Yeah.
They're consistent. As far as let me take this call, I do think she can be forward in this race. I don't disagree with you that Rosa Veloce is probably faster than her. Didn't pick her because I thought she had to wire the field to win this race, but I think she's a lot better than she looks. She's also a horse that keeps getting one wet track after another. Now I know the argument, well, she got a dry track and she didn't run well. Well, she got a dry track on a gold rail and she chased 4 wide around the track. She's 4 wide around the track that day. Frankly, that sloppy track race on December 11th, the Garland of Roses, that effort could win this race quite easily.
Well, she's the
think-
one on the field where you also can say, I mean, look who she's been
Right,
running against.
I
Look
mean-
who she's running against today.
Right. I mean, she's taking a significant drop here. And, you know, I was looking through, I mean, I was trying to make a case for Halo City, but she probably wants a little more distance. But she was against it last time out and 2 races back. I mean, that race gives her a chance.
Yeah.
I thought she was a little...
She's run okay at 6. I mean, she's hit the board going 6 and 7.
She's probably a little better,
Needs
going a
little
little
bit more-
longer.
needs a
Maybe
little bit
needs a
more ground.
race going longer. Maybe
I
it's a
think that's
prep.
what Tally's probably thinking.
Right.
Get a race under her belt. You know, it comes up only a 6-horse field now with the scratch. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the one was a horse that could outrun her odds, so I picked her in that race. Race number 8.
2 times in a row, Boom Boom Kaboom is the morning line favorite. How great is that?
Well, she's the horse to beat in here.
Yeah.
She ran very well. We'll show her last race. I mean, this is a race that kind of fell apart in the late stages, and this was probably the wrong time for Eric to be engaged in the pace. You can't really blame him. It's better to make a mistake being aggressive than make a mistake being unaggressive. She actually was arguably best 2 back when she was planted on a dead rail, and also not Eric's fault. That was the first day of that weekend. How was Eric supposed to know the rail? I'm being serious. He couldn't have known the rail was dead. And I also think if you take out all her turf races, she's not an 0 for 23. She's an 0 for 9, and frankly, she's an 0 for 9. It's running well. She never ran this well. She's not my kind of horse. But it's
0 for 9 in her best form.
Yeah, it's sort of a 2-horse race between her and the 6. I don't have a problem with the 6. You picked the 6. I picked the 4. It was
a coin flip for me.
I just took the other one.
Yep.
That's all.
Same here. Just
And the thing about Live It Up is, yes, no question he's running against better horses. I wish he had done a little.
But
running
how much running has he done against better horses?
Well, in fairness to him, at least he showed speed first time.
Yeah.
So it's not like he trailed 10 lengths behind the whole way.
Ordinarily, I would take the older horse against the 3-year-old still at this point of the year, but
Why?
I couldn't do it at 0 for 20.
Yeah. And I mean, you start with the race, I don't really know where you're supposed to go. And Boom Boom is a he. Thank you, Nick. Oh, I thought it was a filly. Okay, here's my weirdo horse in here. You like to point out your weirdo horses. My weirdo horse is Court Banker.
Okay.
I don't know. He ran his Bold Journey first time.
Yeah, right.
He's dropping down. Jackie, I think David put it on this. I want to say that Jackie Davis had the highest ROI of any jockey in the top 12.
In the top 12. The highest ROI had to be Louis Rodriguez Castro, right? I mean,
But he didn't have a
Right.
in the
No,
top
I know.
12. But
he was the highest ROI.
I will say that Jackie, and I know I'm her biggest fan. I'm a Jackie Davis cheerleader. She had a great winter.
Fantastic winter.
I mean, it's not like she rode a lot of horses with big chances. And every horse she rode that had any chance whatsoever ran as well as it could have run, if not better.
Maggie and I were talking about it on America's Day at the races. It was nice to see her have a good day on our Claimant Championship day too, because that kind of represents what the winter's all about. And she had a good winter. She won
that race, the first race,
Yeah,
and she won the right way. The horse got left, and she said,
just
"You
left
know
the
what?
horse alone.
I'm not gonna, because I got left. I still need to be forward."
Let
She
her
just went.
let her go.
Yeah,
let
yeah.
her pull it. She let the filly take her to where she had to be, and she got the job
Her
done.
brother is the star of the meet, winning the title. And I thought the moment in the show when Maggie was interviewing Kendrick, I don't know if you saw it,
Fantastic.
and Kendrick invited Dylan in. That's who Kendrick Carmouche is.
Correct.
And I think it also says a lot just in general about the riders,
The column.
kind of people that they are.
Yep.
Bunch
of good
Kendrick
guys and
said,
gals
I'm getting the
downstairs."
spotlight now, but the spotlight belongs to Dylan. And not a lot of people give the spotlight up, as we well know, because
Yes.
we fight for it. Anyhow,
Every
happy
day.
birthday to my friend Anthony
Thank you,
Stabile. It
sir.
is his birthday today, so he's accepting gifts up until March 31st of 2023. Anytime
It's like when you
before
get
then.
married, you have a full year to give a gift.
I wouldn't know about that. Jackie is not riding the 8. It's Mania. Jackie's not riding the 8.
Oh, man.
so-
Okay.
But at least we got to give Jackie a plug.
We
Thank
did.
you, Adam. All right. I got 2 people telling me. Steve told me too. So Steve had to be right about something after he was wrong. Naira Bets. Head over to Naira Bets.
You're always
not a
right when
member?
you're at Naira Bets.
Yeah, there you have it. Stakes 200 will match the $200 of your initial deposit. We have the bonus $75, but throw in Gulfstream with Aqueduct and Oaklawn. If you bet at least that at all 3 tracks, you get $25. Opt in at nairabets.com. It's easy to do. Even I can do it. We have the contest. You have until 5 o'clock tomorrow, as Anthony pointed out. Great way to play. $300 buy-in, cash and seat prizes. Lots of fun. Check it out at naira.com/contests. And finally, America's Day at the Races, 2:30 to 6 today here and Oaklawn. Anthony, thank you. Happy birthday.
Thanks, pal.
Johnny I up next with a reprise of the Scratches and Changes.
Hello, racing fans, and once again, welcome to Aqueduct as we wrap up the month of March and begin the spring meet here at the Big A. Cloudy skies, the temperature in the mid-50s, and the main track is fast, and we have no changes to report in today's first race. In the second race, scratch number 6, Tail of Mineshaft. Scratch number 6, note that number 2, Bingo John, is a Ridgeling. In the third race, an equipment change on number 3, Joshua. He'll run with blinkers on. Blinkers on, number 3. And the 9 is now 2 pounds over. Fourth race, scratch number 3, Kingdom Queen. Scratch the 3, Kingdom Queen, out of the 4th. In race 5, note that number 2 will be 1 pound over. In the 6th race, scratch 7, Mr. Pete, and 8, New York's Finest. Scratch 7 and 8. Note that number 6, Money in the Bank, the rider, will carry no whip again. No whip again for number 6, Money in the Bank. In the 7th race, scratch number 3, Eloquent Speaker. Scratch the 3, Eloquent Speaker. And in today's 8th race, a rider change on number 8, Court Banker, to Raul Mena. Raul Mena rides the 8, Court Banker. A few overweights. Number 3 is 1 pound over. Number 7 will be 2 pounds over. And the 10 is 1 pound over. Main track fast. First race is coming up in 27 minutes at 1:20.
How does horse racing support New York's economy? It's responsible for 19,000 jobs and more than $3 billion in annual statewide economic impact. These good-paying jobs support working families across the state and sustain thousands of small businesses both on and off the track. Horse racing in New York means jobs and opportunities now and in the future. We are New York Horse Racing.
Want to get your career in horse racing off to a fast start? Well, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program is your winning ticket. The Racetrack Industry Program has served as a springboard to some of the industry's most successful individuals, with a proven track record of job placement right out of college. If you want to earn a degree in the exciting horse racing industry, the Racetrack Industry Program can put you in the winner's circle.